Hi guys, I'm Chantel and welcome to my October TBR. Now, I'm going to be doing 3 separate TBRs in October. Hopefully I can get through all these books, but I'm going to do my regular TBR here with my cart. I am going to do a library TBR because I can't stop from requesting all the books apparently. So in September I tried this out. I did a separate little library TBR and I really liked that. So those are the first 2 that I'll do. And then the third one is going to be my TBR for the Hey Reader-a-thon that I've started / am hosting, or whatever the terminology is. There's a couple different prompts for that. So today we're gonna do the regular TBR. Next week I'm gonna come back and we're gonna do the library TBR. And then sometime after that we'll do the other one. Okay, so my last video, I updated my cart a little bit, like rearranged, added a few like fall themed, fall feeling, suspense, creepy, moody type books. And I arranged it so that pretty much this shelf and these 2 books are like the ones I would really like to be able to pick from for this TBR, depending what the prompts come up. Hopefully that will work. But, okay, so I like updated this, but then today I got some book mail. So I am going to cheat my own little system here and I'm going to add 1 book because I really want this one on there. And this is The House on Foster Hill. This is another Jamie Jo Wright book. I read one of hers this month and really loved it. This one was written in, what year? Yeah, my cat knows every time I'm filming. This one was written in 2017, so I think it's the year before the other one that I read. And I have another one of her books on here as well, The Curse of Misty Wayfair. Yeah, so like I really just want to read all her books, and the first one was so good and like so moody for this time of year that I really wanted to throw this one on there. You can't see it if I put it there, but I really don't have room for it. Oh, there's the kitty. You gonna say hi? Don't worry, I'm seriously not that crazy cat lady that always talks about her cat. She just comes here every afternoon when I decide to film. Anyway, okay. We'll just shove it in here like this, I guess. That'll work. So what I'm going to be doing this month, same as last month, I'm going to be using the Hey Reader website, which is a TBR prompt generator website that I got my husband to build and I've been loving. But before we get into that, I have a newsletter that I send out every other week, and I have been giving my newsletter subscribers 4 options of the books on my cart, and whichever one they vote for that gets the most votes is one that's going to be on my TBR. So I need to check to see which one won. I am just going to start my screen recording here so you can actually see. Honestly, I did this a month ago now. That I sent this to my subscribers, so I honestly don't even remember which 4 books were on there. So first I'll figure out which ones they were, and then we will figure out which one won. Okay, here's the options. We've got Soul's Gate by James L. Rubart. Now that I changed my... oh, it's over here. Moved everything around, now I can't find anything. I think this one is a supernatural suspense, I think, based on what I know or what I've read by him before. I don't know, something in that genre anyway. The Weed That Strings the Hangman's Bag. This is a mystery series. This is book 2. Oh, and then I did put The Curse of Misty Wayfair on there. I didn't even remember that. Sweet. So that one is, it says romantic suspense. Her other one was more just suspense, like very little romance on there, but I think that they market, like there's more of a market for the romance aspect, so they always put that in there, even if there's not much of it. And then This Present Darkness, which is a Frank Peretti book. What? I wonder why I put this one on there instead of The Oath, because I really want to read The Oath. This is a supernatural suspense book, and I read this in high school, so like 16 plus years ago now, and I really remember it affected me, and yeah. So I would really like to read all 4 of these, but let's see which one actually won here. The Curse of Misty Wayfair. Yes. Okay. Thanks, guys. This one won at 43%. Next would, oh, it was close. The next one was The Weed That Strings the Hangman's Bag, and then This Present Darkness was really close. And Soul's Gate had the lowest amount. Okay, so this will be the first book on my TBR. Now, I don't think I've read the back of this one. I don't know what happens. Her other one, I tried to read the back of it and I didn't really understand it. But as soon as I started reading it, it would grip me. It was like dual timeline and suspense and creepy, and oh, it was perfect. I have really high hopes for this one now. These ones, I will see if I can put them back on the cart. We'll just call that one good enough. So now I'm gonna head over to Hey Reader and start my October TBR. I'm trying to think of how many books I should put on there, because the Hey Reader-a-thon is a week long and I have 4 prompts plus a bonus. And then there's the library TBR. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll pick 5 books this month, and we'll see how that goes. So let's go to Hey Reader. I'm going to create a TBR, and it's going to be titled Chantel's October TBR, because I'm really creative with names. And the date I'll just put in there because I will read that during the month of October. And this will be public when you see this video, but I'm going to leave it not public right now because I don't want you guys creeping on there and finding it out before the video. Okay, so now we are going to add random prompts. So I did share in my last couple weekly weekend review, sharing some updates about Hey Reader. And one of the things that Jared included recently is the ability to do custom prompts. And those custom prompts can be in the spread of cards that you pick from. I personally have not created any custom prompts yet, but I have a few ideas and I will probably add them in for next month. I purposefully, when creating the prompts for Hey Reader, I didn't write like any genre specific books because I wanted it to be able to be used by people that like to read a variety of genres. But for myself, mystery, suspense, fantasy have kind of, and a little bit of historical fiction have been kind of my main genres. And so I might add those in there in the future. But for now, I don't think I made any custom prompts. Yeah, so now it's just a matter of picking a card, any card. Orange on the cover or spine. Oh, this one is for the Hey Reader-a-thon, and it's not supposed to show up in the general. Oh, you know what? This is just because I'm a min. Wait a minute. I'm going to not include custom prompts. I'm going to delete that one because that is a Hey Reader-a-thon prompt, and I don't want to do 2 books specifically like that right now. So let's try this again. Let's see where the cards fall. A place in the title. Okay, so I'm going to try to get these. But a place in the title. Soul's Gate, The Oath, Incarceron. Oh, okay, this one, Anne of Avonlea. Oh, this one would work. Foster Hill would be a place. Room is a place. Passenger to Frankfurt. I actually have lots of options here. Okay, the house on Foster Hill, room. Anne of Avonlea. What was Passenger to Frankfurt? That one's gonna be hard to get out, so I'll wait. This night, no. Okay, so Passenger to Frankfurt plus these ones are my options. Okay, So I'm kind of thinking this one might work for my bonus prompt for the Hey Reader-a-thon. So I might wait on this one, although I do want to read it in October. Room, I think would be really good. I also want to read The House on Foster Hill. This one could potentially work for a blue. Oh my goodness, I know my colors so well. An orange on the cover or spine. But I just barely got a Jamie Jo Wright book. Do I want to do both right away? Or do I want to like drag it out? Oh man. I really feel like it's between these two. I could do the Agatha Christie. Maybe I'll do the Agatha Christie. Just have to take out all of her books in order to get this one out. What's this one about? This one, there were 2 passengers in the transit lounge at Frankfurt Airport whose lives were to depend on what took place in the next 30 minutes. Let's see what year she wrote this one in. 1970? Oh, and was she still alive then? I don't know what her, probably. This is like an original, like not a reprint. Okay, maybe we'll go with Passenger to Frankfurt. Because that's a place. Hopefully I don't regret it. Hopefully I can still get to these ones in October. But I think that's my final answer. I hate making decisions and wondering if I made the wrong decision. Oh man. Okay. That will be my place in the title. So that's number 1. And now for another one. A book with a great first sentence. I totally don't even remember putting that one on there. Well, let's see what the Oath has for a great first sentence. She ran, tree limbs and brambles scratching, grabbing, tripping, and slapping her as if they were bony hands reaching for her out of the darkness. That's pretty great. Okay. Oh man, so many books I want to read. Oh, someone was really raving about Carrie Stewart Parks. This one's A Cry from the Dust. Do I do the prologue first sentence or the actual chapter? Okay, I'll do the actual chapter. Are these from the 3 bodies they dug up? Okay. Is this one mystery or suspense? This one's suspense. Let's try something different. Mapping the Bones. I think this is historical fiction, possibly with a fantasy twist. I know she does have some that do have fantasy. Yes. I do think this does. Let's see what the first sentence is. The first sentence, well, what do you do when there's like a prologue? Okay, we'll do the original first chapter. This guy's name, Chaim. Chaim was the one who heard the knock first. I'm gonna say that doesn't have a great first sentence. It might lead somewhere great. Let's try Incarceron. Finn had been flung on his face and chained to the stone slabs of the transitway. Still not as great as the other ones. Friend request. The email arrives in my inbox like an unexploded bomb. Maria Weston wants to be friends on Facebook. I'm kind of curious about the bomb part, but not like an amazing first sentence. I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my Governor module, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on the company satellites. Oh yes, okay, this one is like about a a robot that's supposed to be an assassin but just wants to watch soap operas all day. That sounds kind of funny. I still think the other one's better though. Let's try The Night Gardener. The calendar said early March, but the smell in the air said late October. One more, Assassin's Apprentice. A history of the 6 duchies is of necessity a history of its ruling family, the Farseers. Nope, that's boring. Okay, no. One more, last one, for real. Ooh, this one has pretty maps. Okay, I've been reading the first chapter, the first sentence of the chapter, but the prologue is only 1 sentence long. It says, once upon a time, in a castle carved of stone, a girl plotted murder. That sounds interesting. I actually don't know anything about this book other than it's like some kind of fantasy, I think possibly YA. But these 3 both have really good opening sentences. So Heart of Thorns, A Cry from the Dust, and The Oath. Which honestly, like if this doesn't come up in October, I'm going to read it anyway. So I kind of want to try one of these other ones. Like I'm definitely reading The Oath in October, for sure. Okay, so that was a girl plots murder, and this one was something about are they from the bodies? Right, so that's a prologue. Are these from the 3 bodies they dug up? This one has a better first sentence, so I'm gonna go Heart of Thorns. It says, trust your heart, even if it kills you. This was one I bought because it was super cheap and I wanted to buy a few books that were like less well known, or at least I hadn't heard people talking about. And this was one of them. And it's got a very interesting first sentence. So we'll go with that. Okay. Let's get another prompt. Let's do this one. A genre you don't usually read. Okay, so I said I usually, or have been lately, fantasy, suspense, historical fiction a little bit. What was the other one? Oh, mystery. Which is pretty much what I just put on the top here. Are any of these like not that? Oh, but this is what I want to read. I guess this one would be more sci-fi. Could I like... I wonder if I can count this one, because I also really want to read this one, but it would be more in the sci-fi genre, which I haven't read that much of. Yeah, we'll try this one. So from what I know, like I said before, I said a little bit, but this one, I think the series has a bunch of little novellas that lead up to the first book in a series or something, which is an interesting idea. And this is only 140 some pages, which means I have room in my TBR, in my month, to have a fairly big TBR, I think. I'm super curious about this one. So I'm gonna do 2 more. Let's try the back. Published before 1900. Oh, that means it's definitely not going to be one of the ones that I want to read. So none of these. Oh yeah, the fairy tales. These would have been published when? This doesn't say the original fairy tale publishing. I'm gonna quickly Google it because, let's see. So they were published in 3 installments between 1835 and 1837. Yes, okay. That's exciting because I really want to read this in the fall. This one has The Princess and the Pea, Thumbelina, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Little Mermaid, which I'm really curious about, The Steadfast Tin Soldier, The Nightingale, The Ugly Duckling, The Snow Queen, The Shepherdess and the Chimney Sweep. Oh, The Happy Family, The Goblin at the Grocer's, and Dance Dolly Dance. Okay, I haven't heard of a number of these, but yes, okay, that is cool. I'm glad for that. I'm glad I didn't have to turn this around and go to my classics shelf because I really don't want to read those this month. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more. Oh, I also forgot to mention, I've been doing I created a read your bookshelf challenge this year, and the prompt for this month was like a creepy, chilly kind of book, and I figured that that would come up anyway. If I want to pull off an extra one, I might just do that as well, but there's that readathon that I'm doing, but I knew it would be easy to work it into these other ones. Okay, let's get another prompt here. Let's do that one. Oh, published after 2015. Oh, okay, well that is like a lot of these. What is something that I really wanted? Funnily enough though, that wouldn't be The Oath. After 2015, what is something that feels really fallish? What was the date on this one? This one really sounded interesting. Plus it has a Frank Peretti, like, I don't know, whatever those things are, endorsement. 2014. Okay, so not that one. I'm assuming Room was longer ago. 2010. I could do The House on Foster Hill. The Night Gardener. Honestly, I know zero about this book other than the cover is like gorgeous, and we recently read Sweep, or I recently read Sweep, and really enjoyed it. 2014. Okay. I have The Queen's Rising on here, but when I was putting it on the cart, I realized it looks more wintry, although it says summer solstice on the back, so whatever. I'm gonna leave that one. How about Mapping the Bones? 2018. Okay, this is a possibility. Or Incarceron. 2007. Is that right? Let me double check that. Yeah. Okay. This one, Soul's Gate. 2012. Like, I know I read this one back in probably 2003. Oh. I bought this one. No, I didn't buy it thrifted. I found it in a little free library, and it says, to Jim, happy reading over the holidays in the hope you'll get a chance to relax and do so. I wonder if they'd read The Oath, because this isn't really a relaxing book. Happy birthday, Kevin and Margaret and Mike and Jude. Kevin and Margaret and Mike and Jude just made Jim have a very scary birthday. 1995, yeah, like I read it before 2015, so. Yeah, okay. Well, I think, oh, okay, wait, no. One more that I was gonna look at is Once Upon a River. This one is how old? I kind of have low expectations of this one. 2018. But the premise sounded interesting because it's like a girl comes out of a river and she fits multiple missing persons reports and people are trying to all claim her. I think it's like a supernatural type thing. This one does sound interesting, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe historical fiction, especially when they have a little bit of a fantasy element, would be like perfect for winter. So I think I'm going to save this one and try this one. I don't know. I really do have low expectations of this one, but I feel like I've got some good options here. So I'm gonna go for this one. It's also been on my cart for a while. And then just for a bonus, we'll take out The Oath. This will be my read your bookshelf pick. And yeah, I really don't remember a ton about this from high school, other than when people like sinned, you could like see it on their heart. It's like you could, yeah, see sin, and it was creepy back then, and we'll see if it's creepy now. I am going to wait until it's like cold and gloomy and only allow myself to pick this book up if like the sun is not shining or something. So this doesn't look like that many books, but then I also have to pick 2 more TBRs worth of books. So we'll see how that goes. These 2 are like super short, so those will be easy. And I think The Oath will be really fast to fly through. So I think it should be okay. If you've ever read any of these before, I would love to know your thoughts. Like when October starts, which one should I like jump in with? And if you haven't read any of them, but you're curious, tell me which one you think I should start first. Thanks for watching another TBR video, guys. And if you liked this, come back next week for my library TBR, because I'm hoping for some more like creepy suspense, not wintry, what season is this? Creepy suspense fallish books for that as well. Thanks for watching again, guys.